When Danny Stroud purchased his very first classic car, his wife was expecting the couple's first son, and thankfully didn't disapprove of Danny's hobby. But fast forward 3 children and 3 cars later, and Moira is slightly less tolerant of Danny's desire to grow his collection. The retired assistant harbor master who lives in West Hill, Aberdeenshire, believes it would be wise to limit his fleet, although Moira does enjoy attending rallies. He is the proud owner of a Triumph Spitfire, Ford Anglia and the Triumph Stag V8. It doesn't take a genius to work out that Danny is a fan of the Triumph Stag, although his 3 sons have not inherited his passion of classic cars. Thankfully he has met plenty of like-minded people through local clubs such as the Grampian Triumphs Club and Garrick Vintage Vehicles Club. He believes that anyone on the lookout for a classic would do well to invest in a Stag, and his passion for the make started in childhood. "I've always been interested in classic cars, and, having been retired for a year, I can spend much more time on my hobby now," said Danny. "I got my first classic car 36 years ago. I can remember because Moira was expecting our first child. She'd certainly have something to say if I added to my collection, so I think you'll have to stick at just the 3 classics. There's no escaping the fact that the Triumph V8 is my favorite, however." Danny invested in the car 8 years ago after seeing it advertised online via a dealership, and flew to London before making his way to Hampshire to see it. Thankfully it was love at first sight, and the Triumph was prepared for a new life in Scotland. "I think my passion for Stags started when I was still pretty young. There was a lady who lived up the road from me who owned a Triumph," said Danny. "I'd see it every day on my way to school and I just fell in love with it, although naturally I couldn't afford one for many years to come." One of the things Danny values the most about fellow classic enthusiasts is the fountain of knowledge on offer, although the V8 needed very little work. "It was in really good condition from the start, which was a tremendous help, but I think Aberdeenshire is brilliant for classic car enthusiasts," he said. "There are so many people who share my hobby, and if you're struggling, you can always find someone to help you. The advice is invaluable when tinkering about, and this is a brilliant area where you can make plenty of friends with that shared interest. I've tidied up the engine a little bit in the bumpers, but it has mainly been cosmetic work. As the Triumph V8 is designed to be a tourer, it's probably a good job that not much was needed to make sure the car will happily chug along for years to come. Although we only take the car out on weekends and special occasions, it's a real joy to go on the long road trips because that's what the Triumph V8 was designed for. We've been to Orkney and Tain and we do a lot of the rallies. It's a wonderful car to drive. It's very comfortable with power-assisted steering and is automatic, brilliant for long journeys. The engine sounds really throaty and it's a great ride in general. You couldn't get a better classic car, and although I won't be adding to the collection, I'm very happy with my lot."